The mind is not just a vessel of thoughts. It is a transmitter of energy, a magnetic field that sends and receives frequencies at every second of your existence. Every thought you release carries a vibration, and that vibration travels into the unseen realm, interacting with the energy of others. When someone constantly appears in your mind, it is not always random, nor is it always a spiritual sign that they are thinking of you. Sometimes, it is simply the power of your own mental energy creating an ongoing frequency that keeps pulling you back into that emotional space. The human mind operates like a radio signal. It tunes into certain frequencies based on emotion, memory, and desire. If your thoughts are saturated with someone, it means your mind has locked onto their energetic frequency, consciously or unconsciously. You see, thought is one of the most powerful forces in existence. Every idea, emotion, or image that crosses your awareness carries a certain vibrational code. When you think of a person intensely, you are sending waves of attention toward them. That attention is energy, and energy seeks connection. However, this doesn't always mean they are receiving it, responding to it, or reflecting it back. What it means is that you are holding them energetically close by giving them your focus. The mind does not differentiate between what's happening in the physical world and what's happening in the invisible world of imagination. When you replay moments, conversations, or even fantasies about this person, your brain lights up as if it's happening in real time. You are, in essence, re-experiencing that energy, feeding it with new life each time you think about them. This is why it becomes so difficult to stop thinking about someone. Your energy field has become accustomed to that person's vibration. It has built an energetic pathway, a connection that feels alive. The more you think, the stronger that pathway becomes. It's like walking the same trail in a forest over and over until it becomes so clear, so familiar, that your mind travels down it automatically. That is what mental energy does. It reinforces what you repeatedly focus on. Thoughts turn into emotional energy. Emotional energy turns into vibration, and vibration begins to shape the atmosphere of your mind. Many people misunderstand this process. They assume that because someone is constantly in their thoughts, there must be some spiritual bond or hidden sign from the universe. But energy doesn't always mean destiny. Sometimes it simply means attention. When your thoughts are charged with emotion, especially longing, pain, or love, that energy becomes even stronger. You start to feel their presence in your dreams, in songs, in coincidences. The truth is, you are not necessarily attracting them. You are amplifying your awareness of their energy through your own mental focus. You are tuning yourself to their frequency, and that frequency begins to echo in every corner of your consciousness. When you think of someone repeatedly, you are in essence creating a bridge of energy that connects your mind to the idea of them. That bridge is not built by mutual thought, but by emotional intensity. The more energy you pour into thinking, wondering, analyzing, and hoping, the stronger that bridge becomes. You might notice that your emotions rise and fall depending on how vividly you imagine them. That's because your energy responds to the mental pictures you create. The mind paints a story, and the body believes it's real. So your heart beats faster, your stomach tightens, your emotions fluctuate. All based on thoughts, not necessarily reality. The truth about mental energy is that it mirrors your internal world. When your mind is filled with someone, it may not be about who they are, but about what they represent to you. They might symbolize comfort, rejection, excitement, validation, or even unresolved pain. Your subconscious attaches meaning to their image, and that meaning fuels the repetition of thought. The reason he stays in your mind is not because he holds power over you, but because your energy hasn't detached from what he represents emotionally. Thought energy always looks for closure, resolution, or continuation. When something remains open, an unanswered message, an unfinished conversation, or a lost connection, your mind seeks to complete that cycle. But mental energy doesn't stop there. It expands, multiplies, and creates emotional chemistry. It's like electricity running through a circuit. The more you feed it, the brighter it glows, the louder it hums. That's why silence and stillness feel almost impossible when someone dominates your thoughts. Your inner energy is overstimulated, trying to interpret the meaning behind their image. You might wonder if they feel it too, if your energy reaches them, if they sense your presence. The truth is, energy moves in mysterious ways, but the only energy you can control is your own. The more your attention stays locked on someone else's frequency, the less power you have over your own. Your thoughts become fragmented, your focus scattered, and your energy begins to orbit around their existence. That's why you must understand, the fact that he's on your mind constantly doesn't automatically mean he's thinking of you. It means your energy has been extended toward him for too long. It's your own mental broadcast, looping the same message again and again. The universe mirrors your energy, so if you project longing, it amplifies longing. If you project curiosity, it amplifies confusion. What you think about, you energize. What you energize, you magnetize. The longer you stay mentally attached, the deeper that magnetic bond feels. The human mind is a powerful transmitter, but it is also a stubborn receiver. It holds onto the frequencies it feels emotionally connected to. When your mind feels his absence, it automatically tries to fill that space with memory. That's why his image keeps returning, not because he's sending signals, but because your energy is trying to reconnect to what feels familiar. It's a cycle of mental energy searching for closure, understanding, or emotional equilibrium. Every thought you release becomes an energetic imprint. And those imprints surround you, influencing your emotions, your mood, your peace. The law of mental energy doesn't judge who you think of or why. It simply magnifies what you feed it. Emotions have a way of leaving fingerprints on the soul. Every experience that carries strong emotion, whether it's love, rejection, betrayal, or admiration, creates a lasting imprint in the subconscious mind. When you feel something deeply for someone, your emotional body records that energy and stores it. Over time, those emotional memories can begin to replay like echoes in your mind. This is why a person can occupy your thoughts long after the relationship, the conversation, or even the connection has ended. It isn't necessarily that you want to keep thinking about them, it's that your emotions haven't yet found closure. Emotional energy doesn't just disappear. It circulates within your inner world, replaying itself until it finds resolution. When you think of someone constantly, it's often because an emotional thread still connects you to them. That connection is not physical but energetic. The mind may let go quickly, but the heart takes time to catch up. The emotional body works like a loop, repeating unfinished feelings, unresolved pain, or unexpressed affection. These loops create what can be called mental echoes, repetitive thoughts, flashbacks, or sudden emotional surges that bring the person back into your awareness. The stronger the emotion, the louder the echo. The quieter your mind becomes, the more these echoes surface, demanding your attention, as if they are asking to be understood, processed, and released. Your emotions are not random, they are teachers. They reveal where your energy is still invested. When you love someone deeply, you invested energy into that bond, your attention, your affection, your vulnerability, your time. All of that emotional investment doesn't vanish the moment the relationship changes or ends. Instead, it transforms into energy that moves through your consciousness, replaying scenes, words, and feelings. That's why it can feel like you are being haunted by memories. You are not being haunted by the person, but by the unprocessed emotion you still carry about them. Your mind replays these moments in an attempt to make sense of them. It's your inner system's way of seeking emotional balance. Emotional attachment works through both pleasure and pain. When something brought you joy, your mind tries to revisit it to experience that feeling again. When something brought you pain, your mind revisits it in an attempt to heal or rewrite the ending. Both mechanisms create mental repetition. You may find yourself thinking about what you could have said differently, wondering what they meant, or imagining how things might have been if circumstances had changed. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your heart is still processing information that your mind has already moved past. Emotional echoes are like waves that crash again and again until the ocean finally settles. You might also notice that certain triggers, a song, a scent, a familiar place, instantly bring their memory to the surface. This happens because emotions are stored not just in your mind, but also in your body. The subconscious associates external sensations with internal feelings. A song that once played while you were together carries the same emotional vibration it did before, and your system reacts as if the moment is happening again. The person's image reappears, not because they're reaching out energetically, but because your stored emotions are responding to a familiar frequency. The more powerful the emotion attached to that memory, the stronger the mental echo becomes. This is why emotional detachment feels so challenging. You cannot simply tell yourself to stop thinking about someone when your emotional energy is still engaged. Logic operates in the conscious mind, but attachment resides deep in the subconscious. The subconscious mind doesn't understand commands like forget or move on. It understands energy, repetition, and meaning. Every time you recall a memory with strong emotion, you reinforce that energetic tie. Your body reacts as if you are reliving it, your emotions reignite, and your mind begins another loop of thoughts. The process becomes a cycle. Emotion triggers thought. Thought strengthens memory. Memory triggers more emotion. At the core of this cycle is emotional attachment, which is built not only through love, but also through pain. Pain often creates stronger bonds than pleasure because it demands more of your energy to process. When someone hurts you, rejects you, or leaves without explanation, your emotional body doesn't just want closure. It demands it. It replays moments, searching for understanding, trying to resolve what doesn't make sense. The more unresolved the situation, the more dominant the emotional echo becomes. This is why some people remain in your thoughts for months, or even years after they're gone, not because of who they are, but because of the emotional meaning attached to their absence. The mind has an incredible way of blending memory with imagination. When emotion is involved, the mind can't distinguish between what's real and what's remembered. It reacts to both as if they are happening in the present. This is why a single thought about someone can instantly shift your mood. The emotional body believes the moment is alive again, and your energy responds accordingly. The more emotion you invest, the stronger that internal signal becomes. You begin to feel like that person is still connected to you, when in reality, it's your own emotional frequency echoing within your field. Understanding this helps reveal that thinking about someone constantly does not always mean there's a mutual energetic exchange. More often, it means your emotional system is still harmonizing itself, still trying to release the energy it once poured into them. When feelings run deep, the emotional echo lingers until your energy finally reclaims itself. It's a process that requires awareness and patience because emotions are powerful forces. They move through you, not against you. And when they're attached to someone you once cared for, those waves of thought and feeling can feel overwhelming, as if you are still connected even when life has moved on. But what's really happening is that your emotions are asking to be acknowledged, processed, and transformed back into peace. There's a powerful illusion that takes hold of the mind when you can't stop thinking about someone. The illusion that your constant thoughts must mean they are thinking about you too. It's an idea that feels comforting, even spiritual, as if the universe is confirming some hidden connection. You begin to wonder if your thoughts are being mirrored, if the energy you're sending is being received, and if there's an invisible cord that keeps the two of you intertwined across time and space. But this is where the mind can easily mislead you. The mind loves to create meaning, and when emotions are involved, it creates stories to make sense of your experience. The truth, however, is that your constant thoughts don't always represent a mutual exchange. Sometimes they reflect your own inner attachment, your unresolved emotions, or the energetic residue of what was never completed. The human mind is a storyteller. It tries to connect the dots to turn emotional chaos into something logical. When someone lingers in your thoughts, your mind instinctively tries to find a reason. It tells you, they must be thinking of me too. Or maybe this means we're meant to be together. This is not because you're delusional or desperate. It's because the mind seeks equilibrium. It wants your emotional experience to make sense. When you miss someone deeply but they don't reach out, that imbalance creates discomfort, a kind of mental tension. To relieve that tension, the mind invents the illusion of mutual thought. The comforting idea that they must feel something too, even if they're silent. It's a psychological mechanism meant to soothe the pain of uncertainty. This illusion grows stronger when your emotional connection with that person was intense. Emotional energy amplifies imagination. When you've shared deep feelings, laughter, intimacy, or even heartbreak, your mind begins to see that person as part of your energetic identity. The thought of them isn't just about them. It's about who you were when you were with them. It's about how you felt, what you discovered within yourself, and the parts of your soul that awakened in their presence. The illusion of mutual thought becomes powerful because the emotional memory feels alive. It feels real enough that your body reacts, your heart speeds up, your stomach tightens, your energy shifts, as if they are truly near. The truth is, it's your emotional energy responding to your own thoughts, not necessarily to theirs. The illusion also feeds on coincidence. You think of them, and then they post something online, or you dream about them, and the next day they call or message you. These moments can feel like proof of a deeper bond, like a spiritual confirmation that thought energy has bridged the gap between you. But what's really happening is the mind's ability to perceive patterns. When emotion is strong, the mind becomes hyper-aware of details connected to that person. You start noticing synchronicities because your awareness is tuned to their frequency. This doesn't mean the connection isn't real. It just means that your energy is still magnetized toward them. And so you naturally pick up on things that remind you of them. The illusion deepens as you interpret every coincidence as a sign, further strengthening your attachment. In this space, the line between energy and imagination blurs. Thought energy is real. It travels, vibrates, and interacts. But it doesn't always mean that what you feel is being mirrored. You may be the one generating the entire vibration through the power of your focus. The more you think about them, the stronger the signal becomes, and the stronger the illusion of mutual thought grows. The mind begins to feed itself. Thought creates feeling. Feeling creates expectation. Expectation creates more thought. You start to exist inside your own energetic loop, mistaking your own reflection for their energy. It's not that the connection isn't meaningful, it's that it may only be active within you now. Sometimes the illusion persists because there's unfinished emotional business. Perhaps there were words left unsaid, emotions that were never expressed, or closure that never came. The mind doesn't like open-ended stories, it wants resolution. So it replays the person's image, searching for understanding, imagining what they might be thinking, what they might be feeling. It's an internal attempt to complete what reality left incomplete. You may believe that thinking of them means they're thinking of you too, but often it's simply your own energy looping through the past, trying to make peace with it. The human mind is also influenced by desire. When you want something deeply, their attention, their affection, their validation, your energy begins to project outward. That projection can feel like a connection. You might feel a surge of warmth or an emotional pull and interpret it as mutual energy. But in many cases, it's your own longing taking form. The more you desire, the more power you give that mental image. Desire is one of the strongest energetic forces. It can create an entire emotional reality that feels alive even when it exists only within your consciousness. That is why people sometimes dream vividly of those they miss. The energy of desire animates the subconscious mind, replaying what it longs to experience again. The illusion of mutual thought also thrives on hope. Hope that maybe the connection isn't over, that maybe somewhere deep inside they still care. Hope keeps the energy alive because it gives the mind a reason to hold on. The more you feed that hope, the more your thoughts orbit around them, creating a powerful energetic loop. But the danger in this illusion is that it keeps your energy tied to what may no longer exist in reality. You become emotionally suspended between what was and what could be, unable to fully move forward or fully let go. Your mind convinces you that the constant thoughts are proof of something bigger, when in truth, it's often your own energy asking to be reclaimed. The key to understanding this illusion lies in awareness. The moment you realize that your constant thoughts may not be mirrored, you begin to take back your power. Awareness doesn't stop the thoughts immediately, but it shifts your relationship with them. You begin to see that thinking of someone doesn't necessarily mean they are tuned into you. It means you are tuned into them. Your mind is still aligned with their frequency because your emotional energy hasn't redirected. The illusion dissolves slowly as you begin to focus that energy inward, as you start to reclaim your attention from the image of them that lives in your mind. Only then can the mental noise begin to fade, not because the connection was false, but because the illusion no longer controls your awareness. The subconscious mind is the most powerful force within the human experience. It holds memories, emotions, and impressions far beyond what the conscious mind can access. Every sound, touch, and emotional experience you've ever encountered leaves a trace there. When someone touches your heart deeply, whether through love, pain, or even a brief but meaningful connection, that impression gets stored within your subconscious like an energetic recording. This is why even when you tell yourself consciously that you're over someone, the subconscious mind continues to bring their image back into your awareness. It's not because you're weak or obsessed. It's because your deeper mind hasn't yet released the energetic imprint they left behind. The subconscious doesn't understand the way the conscious mind does. It doesn't know the difference between the past and the present. It responds only to emotion and repetition. So when you think about a person with strong emotion, even if it happened years ago, your subconscious perceives it as happening now. This is why a memory can still bring tears, warmth, or a quickened heartbeat. The mind replays the experience not as history, but as living energy. Every time you replay a moment in your imagination, you activate that stored emotional energy again, and it becomes part of your present state. You might think the memory is controlling you, but what's actually happening is that your subconscious is still holding on to it, waiting for resolution or release. The subconscious mind stores emotional information in symbols and sensations rather than words. It remembers how someone's presence made you feel. The comfort, the excitement, the rejection, or the safety. These emotional associations lie beneath your conscious awareness and influence your thoughts and reactions without you realizing it. You may suddenly think of someone without any external trigger, and it feels spontaneous. But what has actually happened is that something within your environment or your emotional state has touched one of those subconscious symbols. Maybe a song played that once resonated with them, or maybe you simply felt lonely, and your subconscious reached for the familiar energy of that person to fill the emotional gap. Your subconscious also has a tendency to repeat patterns until they are healed. If there's unresolved energy connected to a person, things left unsaid, emotions unprocessed, or pain never acknowledged, your subconscious will continue to bring them into your thoughts as a signal. It's not trying to torment you. It's trying to help you see where your energy is still stuck. Every recurring thought is an invitation to look deeper into what still needs healing. The person might represent something beyond themselves, Maybe your need for acceptance, your fear of abandonment, or your longing for love. The subconscious attaches meaning to people as symbols of emotional experiences, and until you address what that person represents, your mind will continue to call their image forward. This is why you can think of someone even when you've had no contact for years. The subconscious doesn't need current interaction to maintain emotional energy. Once the imprint is made, it stays until it is consciously released. Some people mistake this constant mental return as a spiritual sign, believing it means they are meant to reconnect. But in most cases, it's your subconscious trying to clear energy that was never fully processed. It's like a background file running in your mental system, invisible to the surface mind, yet constantly influencing your thoughts, dreams, and emotions. The more intense the emotional connection, the stronger that file becomes. The subconscious also reacts to sensory memories. The sound of laughter that resembles theirs, the smell of a perfume they once wore, even the way someone walks or gestures can pull up that stored memory. When this happens, your body reacts before your conscious mind even understands why. You feel the emotional charge first, the quick heartbeat, the rush of nostalgia, the subtle sadness. And only afterward do you realize it's connected to them. This automatic reaction shows how deeply your subconscious holds onto emotional experiences. It doesn't let go until the energy is fully acknowledged, accepted, and transformed. When you constantly think about someone, you're not just recalling memories, you're reliving emotional frequencies that are still active within you. The subconscious operates in vibration, not logic. If that person made you feel a certain way, loved, wanted, rejected, or hurt, those vibrations stay alive in your energy field until they are consciously shifted. The thoughts you have of them are simply reflections of that vibration still existing within you. The mind surfaces those thoughts as a way of bringing awareness to the energy that hasn't yet found peace. The challenge is that the subconscious mind does not respond to words. It responds to emotion and imagery. You can tell yourself repeatedly, I'm done thinking about him. But if the emotion behind the thought still carries resistance or longing, your subconscious interprets that as continued focus. The emotional energy gives the thought life, keeping the connection alive. This is why letting go isn't about forcing yourself to stop thinking. It's about changing the emotional energy you associate with that person. When the emotional charge dissolves, the subconscious no longer has a reason to replay the memory. Another aspect of the subconscious is that it mirrors what you feed it. Every time you imagine this person, visualize conversations, or replay memories, you are feeding your subconscious a story that they are still present in your energetic world. The mind accepts whatever is repeated as truth. So the more often you entertain these mental images, the more real they become in your inner experience. This creates a feedback loop. Thought creates emotion, emotion reinforces memory, and memory produces more thought. The cycle continues until awareness interrupts it. The subconscious is loyal, not logical. It holds on to what once mattered to you because it believes it's protecting you. It doesn't realize that holding on to those old emotional attachments might actually be keeping you stuck. It thinks, this person once brought love, safety, or meaning, so I will keep them close. It's acting out of habit, not intention. To change that habit, you must begin communicating with your subconscious through new emotional experiences. Peace, acceptance, forgiveness, and self-focus. These are the vibrations that tell your inner mind that the lesson has been learned, that it can safely release the person without fear of loss. Until that happens, the subconscious will continue to surface their image, their voice, their energy, as if reminding you of unfinished business. Every time you push it away, the energy grows stronger because what is resisted persists. The key lies in awareness. To see that these recurring thoughts are not proof of an ongoing connection, but reflections of energy still living within your subconscious. The moment you begin to observe these thoughts without emotional reaction, Your subconscious begins to understand that the energy has served its purpose and can finally be transformed. Energy flows where attention goes, and whatever receives your mental attention begins to grow in power within your life. The mind is like a garden, and thoughts are the seeds that determine what kind of reality blooms. When you constantly think about someone, you are watering that seed daily, giving it light focus and emotional nourishment. You may not realize it, but every time your mind drifts toward that person, you are directing a stream of energy toward them. This energy doesn't just disappear, it amplifies their presence in your consciousness and strengthens the emotional tie between you. Even if you haven't seen or spoken to them in a long time, your constant attention keeps them alive in your energetic world. That's the invisible law of mental energy. The more focus you give something, the more real it becomes in your experience. The mind is a powerful instrument of creation, and it doesn't discriminate between positive or negative attention. Whether you are longing for someone or resenting them, you are still giving them your energy. Thoughts charged with strong emotion, love, anger, or sadness act as magnetic waves that pull more of that same emotional experience toward you. So, if you spend hours thinking about how much you miss someone or how deeply they hurt you, you are still tying your energy to them through that focus. Energy doesn't understand words, it understands vibration. The emotion behind your thoughts determines the kind of energy you send out. When your attention is consumed by another person, even through pain or longing, that energy keeps them vibrating in your field. What most people don't realize is that attention is one of the most valuable forms of energy in existence. Wherever your attention goes, your life force follows. It's the same reason why people who focus on their goals achieve them. They're feeding those goals with mental and emotional energy until they manifest. But when that same energy is directed toward a person, especially someone from the past, it anchors you in their frequency. You may find it difficult to focus on your purpose, your peace, or your future because so much of your inner power is being diverted to maintain that invisible connection. You might wake up thinking about them, go through your day trying not to think about them, and fall asleep replaying memories. What's really happening is that your energy is orbiting around their image instead of expanding into your own growth. Every time you focus on someone, you invite them into your mental and emotional space. It doesn't matter if the thoughts are pleasant or painful. Your focus keeps them alive within you. Over time, this can drain your personal energy, leaving you feeling tired, distracted, or emotionally heavy. You might even start to feel disconnected from yourself because your attention has been externalized for too long. You become a satellite of someone else's energy instead of being the center of your own. That's the hidden cost of excessive focus. It steals your vitality and disrupts your inner balance. You may think you're simply remembering them, but energetically, you're feeding a cord that keeps you tethered. Energy is intelligent. It follows direction. When you keep revisiting thoughts of someone, you're instructing your energy to go there. You might wonder why you can't seem to move forward, why it feels like their presence lingers no matter what you do. The answer lies in the invisible attention you keep sending. Your subconscious takes every thought as a command, and when you constantly think about someone, your subconscious assumes they are still important to your survival. It responds by keeping their image active in your awareness, thinking it's helping you stay connected to something vital. But in truth, that constant connection drains your emotional battery and limits the flow of energy toward your personal evolution. Energy follows focus in both directions, outward and inward. When you redirect your attention toward yourself, you begin to reclaim the energy that was once scattered. Your creativity, confidence, and inner calm start to return. You begin to notice that the person's presence in your thoughts weakens as your own energy strengthens. The mind can only hold one dominant vibration at a time. If you're focused on your growth, your healing, and your peace, there's no room for the constant mental replay of someone else. The thoughts may still appear, but they no longer have the same power because your focus has shifted from dependency to self-mastery. Most people don't realize that the energy they give away through attention is the same energy they need to build their future. When you constantly think about someone who's no longer in your life, you're unconsciously giving them a share of your creative force. The power you could be using to manifest your goals, improve yourself, or create new opportunities. That's why redirecting your focus isn't just emotional healing, it's energetic realignment. Every time you bring your thoughts back to your own well-being, you reclaim power. You stop feeding the memory and start feeding your potential. The law of attention doesn't punish or reward, it simply amplifies whatever you choose to focus on. Energy also flows through repetition. The more often you think about someone, the stronger the neural pathways in your brain become, making it easier for those thoughts to return. That's why it feels like they appear in your mind without warning. It's not because they're sending you energy, it's because you've trained your mind to associate them with emotional significance. But this can be changed. Just as you programmed your mind through repetition, you can reprogram it by directing your attention elsewhere. Every time you choose not to dwell on them and instead focus on yourself, your goals, or your peace, you weaken the old pathway and strengthen a new one. Over time, your mental energy begins to flow naturally toward your own life rather than theirs. The law of energy is impartial. It doesn't distinguish between love or obsession, admiration or anger. It only responds to focus. The more you look at something, the more it expands in your experience. That's why people say that where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life grows. If your energy keeps flowing towards someone who's no longer aligned with your path, you remain energetically tied to their world instead of creating your own. But when you learn to reclaim your attention, to redirect your thoughts, and to focus your energy on your personal peace, you begin to feel lighter. The fog clears. The mental noise softens. Because the same energy that once kept them alive in your mind can be transformed into the energy that builds your future. Spiritual detachment is not about ignoring someone or pretending they never mattered. It's about reclaiming your energy from the emotional attachment that once held power over you. It is the art of releasing the need to know, the need to be understood, and the need to be chosen. When you are deeply connected to someone, your energy becomes intertwined with theirs, and even when they are gone, part of you still searches for that connection. The mind constantly asks questions. Do they think of me? Do they miss me? Will they ever return? These thoughts seem harmless, but each one keeps your spirit to an outcome that no longer serves your growth. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing that care to control your peace. The process of detachment begins when you realize that your worth is not determined by another person's recognition of it. So often we hold on to people because we subconsciously believe that their attention validates our value. When they pull away, it feels as though we have lost a part of ourselves. But in truth, nothing is lost, only projected. We projected our sense of importance, joy, and completeness onto them. Detachment is the moment you call that energy back. It's the moment you understand that your peace should not depend on whether someone chooses you, remembers you, or understands you. Spiritual freedom begins when you stop chasing closure from others and instead find it within your own heart. When you detach, you don't suppress your emotions, you observe them. You begin to understand that longing and pain are natural, but they are also temporary. The more you observe your emotions without acting on them, the more power you gain over your internal world. The person may still cross your mind, but instead of feeling consumed by the thought, you simply notice it and let it pass. This is how energy begins to shift, through awareness. Awareness breaks the cycle of emotional reaction. When you no longer react to the memory, the emotional charge dissolves, and the person's presence in your energy field begins to fade. Detachment, therefore, is not forgetting. It is freeing the emotion that binds you to the memory. Many people mistake detachment for indifference, but they are not the same. Indifference is the absence of care, while detachment is the presence of peace. Detachment is a conscious choice to stop clinging to what cannot be controlled. It's realizing that no amount of overthinking or emotional effort can make someone love you, stay with you, or understand your value. When you are spiritually detached, you move from a state of emotional dependency to one of energetic sovereignty. You stop looking outward for completion and start finding wholeness within yourself. The power you once gave away through attachment becomes the same power that fuels your self-discovery and transformation. Detachment also brings clarity. When emotions run high, perception becomes distorted. You see what you want to see, not what truly is. You might convince yourself that the connection is still mutual, that the signs mean something, or that your longing is proof of destiny. But when you detach, your vision clears. You begin to see the situation for what it truly is, not what your heart wishes it to be. You recognize that sometimes people enter your life to teach you lessons, awaken hidden parts of your spirit, or show you what love is not. Once their purpose is fulfilled, holding on only delays your own evolution. Detachment allows you to thank them in silence, release them with peace, and move forward with wisdom instead of bitterness. Spiritual detachment also restores your personal vibration. When you're emotionally attached, your energy becomes entangled with another person's frequency. You might feel drained, anxious, or unsettled without knowing why. That's because part of your emotional energy is still revolving around them. Detachment acts as an energetic cleansing. Each time you choose not to overanalyze, not to check, not to chase, you are reclaiming fragments of your power. Over time, you begin to feel lighter, stronger, and more centered. You stop vibrating at the frequency of loss and start resonating with peace. The more you practice this, the less control the past has over you. One of the deepest forms of detachment is surrender, the act of trusting that life knows what it's doing. It's accepting that some things are beyond your understanding and that forcing answers only creates more confusion. Surrender is saying, I don't need to know why it happened. I trust that it served its purpose. When you surrender, you allow divine intelligence to rearrange your life in ways you can't yet see. You stop chasing explanations and start aligning with peace. In that space, healing happens naturally. The heart softens, the mind quiets, and the spirit finds balance again. Detachment also allows you to love differently. When you're attached, love is filled with fear. Fear of losing, fear of being forgotten, fear of not being enough. But when you detach, love becomes pure. You love without expecting anything in return. You care without needing validation. You give without fear of rejection. That is true spiritual maturity. To love freely without possession, to appreciate without clinging, and to bless without bitterness. Detachment transforms love from dependency into freedom. You realize that the greatest act of love you can give someone is the freedom to walk their path, even if it leads away from you. In spiritual detachment, silence becomes your strength. You stop explaining yourself, stop defending your feelings, stop trying to be understood. You realize that silence is not weakness, it's power. It's the energy of self-respect. When you no longer feel the need to chase closure or force connection, you rise into emotional independence. The people who are meant to be in your life will align with your peace, not your pain. The ones who are not meant to stay will naturally fade as your energy shifts. This is how life balances itself. What is meant for you flows toward you effortlessly when you stop holding on too tightly. Through detachment, you begin to rediscover yourself. You reconnect with your purpose, your creativity, your inner voice. You realize how much energy was once spent trying to hold onto something that was never meant to stay. Every moment of letting go becomes a moment of coming home to yourself. You no longer need to understand what others think, feel, or do, because your peace no longer depends on them. You begin to operate from inner strength, trusting that whatever leaves creates space for what is aligned to enter. That is the quiet power of spiritual detachment. It transforms the pain of attachment into the peace of freedom, and it reminds you that everything you once searched for in someone else already exists within you.